Now, the first thing to do when you first get into a car is make sure that you come to a full stop. Make sure traction control is off. Go into Sport Plus mode and okay.
It's a beautiful day outside, and we've got a beautiful car here, the 2014 Lexus IS 350. This is the newer generation starting in 2014, and like I said, this is a 2014 model, so it's not quite as updated as some of the newer ones. The body has completely changed compared to the older model, making it look much more refreshed and much more aggressive. There's some beautiful lines down below, some absolutely massive vents to help cool this 3.5 liter V6, which we'll hear in a little bit. The overall design of the Lexus IS 350, and this is the F Sport model, and keep that in mind, and it does have some TRD upgrades. TRD side skirts, rear spoiler, rear bumper, and exhaust. It also has an intake, and like I said, we'll get to all that in just a second, but a little overview of the car to start. Now, it's a 3.5 liter V6 producing 305 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. Now, this car kind of competes directly with the Infiniti Q50, the 3.7 liter version that is. And that car produces 330 horsepower and 276 pound-feet of torque, so they're very similar. On the top end, the Infiniti might be a little bit quicker, but I must say I do like the look of the Lexus a little bit more than the Infiniti. Beautiful headlights at the front. I love this design with the daytime running light. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Integrated there into the front bumper. As I said, we have some massive intakes below the grille as well. This car is actually sitting really low as well, which I think makes it look even better. Let's go ahead and we'll walk around the car, see what it looks like. Now, a quick interesting fact about this compared to the Infiniti Q50 and even the G37 is that this car has 18-inch wheels. The Q50 has 18-inch wheels on the S model. They're very, very similar, and it's very interesting because I personally own an Infiniti G37, so this car is its direct competitor, so I can give you pretty much an exact idea of what this car is like compared to that other vehicle. But overall, like I said, I do much prefer the design to this over the G37 or the Q50. I just think it looks better. The lines are nicer. The side skirt looks great as well. This paint too. It's a pearlescent white, similar to the pearl white that you find on the Infinitis, but I think it looks even better on this car. Now I want to quickly show you the rear seats and show you how much space I have back there, because I'm 6'2", and a lot of people, if they're going to get a sedan, they want to have a bunch of space in the back. Space back here. I have somebody who's 6'2" sitting in front of me, and like I said, I'm 6'2" as well. My legroom's pretty good. The seats kind of have a weird curvature to them, so the top of my knees are actually hitting. Headspace is really good. I have probably an extra inch of headroom. So if we're comparing apples to apples here, the Lexus IS 350 is definitely more spacious in the rear of the car compared to the G37. Like I said, if we're comparing apples to apples here, the Lexus IS is a little bit more spacious in the rear than either the G37 or the Q50. Now let's go on to the rear, where most of the major upgrades to this car have been done, and we can talk a little bit more about them. So it has this absolutely massive rear wing. This is for a rear deck lid spoiler on a sedan, this is huge. If you think about it, without having one, I think it would look a little bit weird, to be honest, but having this spoiler fits it just right. As you can see, we also have the quad tip exhaust. That's the TRD exhaust. We'll let you to listen to it. I think it sounds pretty darn good, I must say. We also have the rear bumper that folds nicely over top of that TRD exhaust. Now, in terms of cargo space back here, let's find out. Simply press the button. It's a little bit hidden. I had troubles finding it myself. Now, Back here, I mean, it's not bad. It's pretty spacious. It's like every other mid-size, smaller size sedan. It can easily fit 2 drone cases, maybe 3 if I was pushing it. The rear seats do fold down to give you extra storage. So in the top right-hand corner, you'll find the storage with the seats folded up for 5 passengers. And on the top left of the screen, you find it with the seats folded down. Now I want to ask you a quick question. In the banner on the top right-hand corner of your screen, you'll find a little pop-up banner that says, how do you think that this car looks? Rate it out of 1 to 10. Let me know what you think. I think it looks pretty good. I'd have to give it at least an 8 because I do like the look of the IS350. It's too bad that there isn't an ISF, but this is as close as you can get with the IS350 F Sport. So now let's go ahead, we'll take a quick look at the engine, then hear what it sounds like and get that exhaust clip as well. So as I said, this car has an intake. As you can see it right here, it is quite a large intake. Definitely gives it a better sound from the engine, as well as adding a few extra horsepower. Nothing too crazy, maybe 5-10 horsepower max. The engine itself, nothing too special here. It is a very clean engine bay, I must say though. Nicely done. Let's go ahead, hear how it sounds. Not too bad. I must say, compared to my car, the G37, it does sound better. VQ's engines just don't sound that good, but this engine does sound pretty good. Let's go to the back and get that exhaust clip and see what that sounds like. Now, before you hear what this exhaust sounds like I said, it's a TRD exhaust, which comes from Toyota, but don't be fooled. Toyota owns Lexus, so it's okay. It does sound a little bit better than stock, and like I said, 4 exhaust tips, always better than 2. Let's go. Before we go on with the rest of this review, as always, I have to thank Norm and International Motor Cars for providing me with this Lexus. It's for sale right now for around $29,000 Canadian. Make sure you go check them out. Linked in the description below is their website, along with the link to this exact car. And like I said, you should go buy it because it's a fun car, super comfortable, and they were gracious enough to let me borrow it. Let's go help them out. Now, the first thing to do when you first get into a car is make sure that you come up to a full stop. Make sure traction control is off. Go into Sport Plus mode and okay. Not terrible, I must say. That's not too bad. The Lexus IS350, like I said, is a 3.5 liter V6, and it's producing ample power at 305 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. It's good enough. It's not amazing. It's not going to be super duper fast, but it's designed to be fun. All-wheel drive means you can be safe. You can drive it in the winter. It has a snow mode, which is just fantastic about it. I love that. And it's all mated to this 6-speed automatic transmission, which I don't really like that much. It's pretty slow. I put it into manual mode. I'm in M6 right now. Let's just do a couple downshifts. You can probably hear it. So that's 5. There's 3. And then it's not as quick as I was hoping it would be, and that's one of the biggest problems with my Infiniti G37, this car's main competitor, is that the transmission is stupid slow. This is a little bit faster than that car, but it's still not a whole bunch better. I was really hoping that Lexus would have taken maybe some dual clutch technology or some faster torque converter technology to make this thing a little bit faster, because it's a little bit lackluster when you're changing gears and it's not really all that fun. But like I said, the power and the torque kind of makes up for it. It's pretty fun to drive. It sounds really good with this TRD exhaust and that intake. It kind of reminds me a little bit of an E92 M3, the way that this thing downshifts. I don't know if you can hear that very well, but it does sound very similar to the way that an M3 downshifts. But let's move on to the interior, and the interior quality is fantastic. Everything feels well built, well put together. All the leathers are super nice. The steering wheel,
I really like the steering wheel, actually. It feels really good in your hand. It's kind of similar to the way that the Lexus LFA steering wheel was. Again, some differences here and there. It's not going to be the exact same. But one thing that I don't like about the interior is the layout of it. I'm not a huge fan of how the screen is kind of pushed back, and there's this giant platform in front of it. It makes it kind of difficult to see it. You don't know if you're seeing the whole thing. It gets a little bit annoying at times. Again, not a huge deal. The rest of it, though, is pretty good. I really like it. I like the design. I like the center console. The center console is actually laid out really, really well. You have the nice mouse pad thing, which I'll show you on the screen right now. It's actually really cool. It's really intuitive. The way that it works makes things a little bit easier. We have our drive mode selector in the middle. We have eco mode, which again is going to make it more economical for you. Normal mode, if you push it right down, kind of everyday driving. Sport mode, when you want to have a bit more fun. And then when you want to really rip this thing, Sport Plus mode is the way you go. One of the coolest things about this car is actually the instrument cluster right in the middle. It's a center tack, kind of like the way that the Lexus LFA was. And once I pull it out of normal mode and into sport mode, it changes to these white dials just like the LFA, which is really cool. Now, sport mode and sport plus, you can't notice a huge difference. It's a little bit more responsive when you're in sport plus, which is nice to have. In normal mode, it's like every other car, super easy to drive. It's a Lexus at the end of the day. It's going to be comfortable, easy to drive, and then because it's the F-Sport, it's going to be fun when you want it to be. And I love, the way that this intake and this exhaust come together to make this V6 sound really, really good. It's loud. It is really loud, but it sounds like a V8. It sounds like, it's weird. But I mean, only revving to 6,600 RPM. It's not a very high redline for this car, but you don't really need it to be. It means that you can have more fun because you have a smaller power band to work with. Now we're gonna find out how this car handles, and I can already tell you that the suspension is stiffer than a lot of other cars that I've driven, which I was really surprised about driving this car. Again, it's not bone-shattering stiff, but at the same time, it is stiff enough that you can have a bit more fun. So we're going to come up on some corners here. Throttle response is fantastic. Turn-in feels good. A little bit of body roll, but you expect that from a bigger sedan. And it's not like a bunch of the other cars that I've driven where it has a bunch of power right out of the corner. It's enough, and it's enough to have fun, but it's enough to have fun without getting in too much trouble. Because, with a lot of other cars, you can get in a lot of trouble because they have way too much power. But in this car, it's just enough to have fun and not, be arrested or get scared or drive into a ditch or anything like that. Nobody wants that. It's not fun. Now, after having been driving this thing for about an hour now, I can find a few little interesting little things about this car. Like, number one, the coolest thing I think I may have ever seen fitted to a climate control system on a car is this touch thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's a little piece of silver that is touch sensitive, and you kind of scroll your finger up and down it to change the temperature of the climate, which is really cool. I kind of like that. It's really interesting. It's very unique, kind of elegant too, and it works really well. A couple other things, this car does have a rear sunshade, which is nice. If it's too sunny in the back, that definitely helps out a ton. Lots of storage space too. I mean, I've got pretty good sports storage space in there. Got some decent sized door pockets as well. And like I said, the trunk space is pretty big. Now, in terms of safety features on this car, it's actually pretty jam-packed. It has, radar assisted cruise control. It has blind spot monitoring. It also has forward collision warning and forward collision mitigation, which are all really nice features to have, and something that the Infiniti didn't really release until this same year, but before that it didn't. Other things that this car has too, it has a navigation system which works really, really well. Like I said, I love this mouse layout. Everything is just super easy to use. You got your climate, nav, info, stuff like that. Really easy to set up. Bluetooth phones, easy. It's super easy to set up. It's like every other car. Really quiet. You can't hear pretty much anything on the road. It's really well insulated in here. Like, there's quite a big difference between having the window down and just driving the car. And Lexus has been known for that, having incredible insulation on their cars and making it feel right at home. And speaking of feeling right at home, it's super, super comfortable. These seats are so soft, like unbelievably soft, hey? They're just, they feel great. They hold you in actually really well. They're not adjustable on the bolsters and stuff, but that's okay because they do a perfect job as is. Like I said, all the materials feel really good, and it's actually just a really comfortable place to sit. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. I'm planning a bunch of new content coming here really soon. So yeah, stay up to date, hit that notification bell. See you next time.
I'm spinning outside, going down. I'm spinning outside, going down.